Hello students, in BA Part 3 English Honours, we have a section in linguistics part, and in BA Part 1, in language part, we have a section where we have to study the variations of language, and in that section we have to study the features of Indian English and American English. Today we are going to study the features of Indian English. As we know that English has been in use in India for a long time. Ever since the establishment of East India Company, English has been in touch with the Indian soil, and English has been used in India in different ways. In fact, East India Company was set up in 1680, and trade relations were established between India and the UK. About more than 150 years after the establishment of East India Company, the British company was in a position to take hold of India, and it was in 1774 that for the first time English language became the court language of India. Thereafter, English never looked back, and there was a heated debate between the Orientals and the Occidentals on the issue of the use of English in India. And we know that in 1835, Macaulay, in his famous minute, advocated the need of English education in India. After this, in 1854, Wood's dispatch made a recommendation for setting up of institutions for English education in India. And thereafter we know that in 1857, 3 universities were set up in India. After this, India never looked back in the use of English language, and even after independence, the use of English in India was not diminished, or there was no decrease in its use. Yes, English came to India as a result of colonization, but today English has become a language that is used as a second language in India, and quite interestingly, English is the only language that is used in all states and union territories of India in some way or the other. As per an estimate, the number of users of English in India is larger than that in any other country except the USA and the UK. So after a long use in this country, English has demonstrated certain distinguishing features, and these features can be discussed on 4 levels. First is vocabulary, second is pronunciation, third is grammar, and fourth is style. On the basis of vocabulary, we can find that a large number of words from Indian origin have been added to the vocabulary of English. Some popular examples of Indian words which have become a part of the English dictionary are as follows. We have words like lati, band, curry, bungalow, babu, jungle, varanda, dharna, hartal, masala, avatar, bazaar, cot, chutney, guru, tick, hallabaloo, khaki, pajama, kuli, shampoo, loot, thug, dakat, juggernaut, karma, pandit, toddy, yoga, desi, and jugaad, etc. On the level of pronunciation, also we find that Indian English shows certain distinguishing features. First of all these features is the lack of aspirated consonants in English. We do not have aspirated consonants like the aspiration of H sound with P or H sound with T. So aspiration is not found in Indian English because the languages and dialects in India do not have this feature, and because of this local influence we have changed the method of or the process of aspiration in English consonant sounds. Then the other distinguishing feature in pronunciation is the use of retroflex consonant, t, d, and n. We pronounce, but these sounds are not found in British English. Then Indian English has the general tendency of pronouncing the final R letter, which is not found in British English. And then use of syllable timed pronunciation rather than stress timed pronunciation is the feature of Indian English. And we find that the letters V and W are pronounced alike mostly by us. In the field of grammar, also we have certain distinguishing features. We generally tend to add S or ES to non-count nouns like luggages and furnitures, etc., which are considered to be wrong, but we follow these practices. Use of isn't for almost all question tags. Generally we do not use question tags, but even if we use, the preferred tag in all cases is isn't it. For example, he is a fool, isn't it? She is beautiful, isn't it? Normally the tag should be he is a fool, isn't he? She is beautiful, isn't she? But in place of using he or she in the tag, we generally use it. Then we have a preference for progressive tense. Generally, we tend to use progressive tense in place of the simple present tense. For example, we like to use a sentence like I am liking music for a sentence I like music. Then another feature of Indian English grammar is the use of affixation, English affixation in words with Hindi root. For example, we have a word like Upanishadik from the word Upanishad and Atmik from the word Atma. And lastly, in respect of style also, we have certain distinguishing features of Indian English. First of them is a preference for the use of reduplicatives like come, come, sit, sit, speak, speak, etc. Then we use expressions like key bunch for bunch of keys, or chalk piece for piece of chalk. Similarly, we use phrases like today morning for this morning, a good name for name, cent percent for 100%, two, 3 persons for 2 or 3 persons. Then we have also certain honorific tendency to use honorifics like Sri, Srimati, Honorable, His Excellency, respected, venerable, etc. And then we have also a preference for Latinate words and phrases. And lastly, we have the tendency of using excess formality, like most humbly and respectfully, I beg to state, or this is to submit, etc. So we try to sound very much polite and very much formal in our communication. So these are certain important features, distinguishing features of Indian English, which are not very much in consonance with the British English. So these become a distinguishing feature of Indian English, and gradually this has developed as a separate type of dialect of English language, although this is being accepted outside India also, and gradually these stylistic and grammatical and pronunciation features are leading English to develop into a new variety of English, which has been possible because of a very long contact between the users, and English has been left in India, and people of India are bringing about these changes gradually, and gradually the world is accepting these changes, and there will be a time when like American English, Indian English will also have its own distinctive position around the world. Thank you. Thank you very much.